Now that we understand a little bit more about Cartesian planes, we can use them to help us model different situations, answer questions, and solve problems. Here's one example of how we might do this. Imagine you're building a school garden and you want to make sure you've got a steady supply of fresh fruit and vegetables. Because different plants thrive in different weather conditions, it's important to know what to plant and when. Let's take tomato plants for instance. They love to grow in warmer temperatures and perform their best between 21 and 29 degrees Celsius. If your temperatures get above or below this, your tomato plants may begin to suffer, and if temperatures climb above 30 degrees, your harvest may fail altogether. To avoid this, collecting information on yearly temperature trends in your local area may be useful. Here's an example of data collected in Longreach, Queensland that shows the region's average monthly temperature in 2023. But what does all of this have to do with Cartesian planes? Well, information presented in this way can sometimes be difficult to read and interpret. But if it's organised in a way that tells a bit of a story, it can be used to make more informed choices about any situation. We call these stories graphs, and the Cartesian planes are like the canvas on which we can present these graphs. If we take a look back at our problem, what we wanted to know was what month of the year will be the best time to plant a tomato crop. The two pieces of information the data gave us are average temperatures and months of the year. So what do we do with this information now? Well, first, we'll need to decide how we're going to present it on our Cartesian plane. If we examine our Cartesian plane more closely, we'll notice that it's made up of 4 quadrants. And in each of these quadrants, the x and y values will have different combinations of signs. Seeing as our Longreach data only contain positive values, we really only need to focus on this section of our Cartesian plane, Quadrant I. Now all that's left is to plot our data points. But before we do this, we need to decide which of those points will be shown on the x-axis and which ones will be represented on our y-axis. This is not always easy to do, but because in this case, we want to know how temperature changes over time, we can treat the x-axis kind of like a timeline. This now means that the x-axis will represent our months of the year and the y-axis will represent our average temperature for each of those months. Remember, whenever we plot any points on a Cartesian plane, we always want to move horizontally in the x direction first and then vertically in the y direction to plot our point. Once we've done this for all of our data points, we can connect all of them together to get this trend line that will give us an idea of how the weather in Longreach, Queensland fluctuated over 2023. You might want to pause the video now to have a go at reading the graph and determining the best month or months to begin planting your tomato crop. If you guess that the optimal growing season for tomatoes in Longreach, Queensland was between the months of April and September, then you'd be correct. In the next video, we're going to take more of a look at reading and comparing graphs on different axes.